Hey, what's going on, my friends? This is Dave Sharpe. Welcome to Wake Up Legendary. Another episode today with a guy from down under, as they say, at least here in America. I don't know if they say that over in Australia, but this guy is somebody who is a blue collar guy, just like myself. Uh, I'm just a few years ahead of him in this online space, and he is quickly working towards a better life for he and his family, just like most all of us are. So, with that being said, let me welcome to the show Simon Clark. What's up, brother?
What's doing, brother? How are you, man? All
I'm
good.
excellent,
Nice
man.
to
I'm
finally
excellent.
meet you, man. That's
It's the
it.
pleasure is all mine, my brother. The pleasure is all mine. So, what
Yeah.
time is it there in Sydney? Is it 10 p.m.?
Nah, it's 2 minutes past midnight. So
Okay.
yeah, it's a little bit late. A little bit late, but
Wow,
it's all
bro.
good, man. Yeah,
Hey,
man.
thanks for staying up for us, bro. I know you get
No,
up
no.
early, and so
Cause I wouldn't have missed this, man. This is a long journey. Long, like, bro, I started in April and learning everything up until now. I remember from like, I think it was April 18th. And then I knew I said I was going to be on this show, like many other people have come on this show. And I watch this show every single day without fail. Like it puts me in the best state of mind, frame of mind to be where I need to be, do what I need to do. And yeah, it's
wow,
good.
man. That's awesome, bro. That's
Yeah,
awesome. I love to hear that. So you started in April of this year.
yeah.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. Well, talk to us about just that beginning journey. I mean, what led you there and how did it kind of all happen? How did you get started?
Um, I had in a nutshell, 2020, I was baggage handler for from 2011 to 2020. So for years, I was doing baggage at the airport, and
Mm.
obviously the pandemic, big effect with us, and
Yeah.
we got the snip, and it was the best thing that ever happened. Like at the time, I was freaking out,
Right.
but in hindsight, it was the best thing that could have happened.
Mm.
So I sat at home for 6 months. For those 6 months that went by, I ended up searching for jobs, freaking out, as the story goes. And I finally found work in a warehouse, doing like just forklift driving. Like my hands are like calloused to that, bro. I've got permanent, like, just, man, I cannot get this grease out of my hands, man. So it's just, it's, like, and working in high vis, especially I'd stay out in Western Sydney, and it's like the blue collar area, it's like the rougher area of Sydney.
Mm.
And in saying that, the workplace is the workplace, but it can be toxic. And this warehouse I've been there for over 10 months now, and I'm still full time just pumping it. But it gave me that push that I needed to search for more, because I'll say it, man. I hate my 9 to 5. I hate it, bro. I hate it. And I never read a book in my life. I never read a book, bro. So the first book, anyway. So yeah, in a nutshell, I don't want to jump around too much, but
No,
I
say
never read a
about the
book.
book thing. Say about, I mean, what were you about to say? That's the good shit that you don't want to say.
Yeah. So, oh man, um, my mother was always telling me, pick up a book. Don't get involved in the bullshit that's going on. Don't run with your friends and be crazy. And get into mischief and whatnot. And yeah. And so a lot of things happened. I lost my mom. I lost my dad quite young,
Mm.
and from that, financial situations happened, like financial struggles and stuff. And I couldn't figure out why so many people have their shit together when it comes to their financials, and some people don't. So I thought about my mom, and I picked up my first book, and it was an Aussie book called Barefoot Investor. That book led me to Rich Dad Poor Dad. That book led me to Think and Grow Rich. Then 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Um, oh man, like, bro, it's just like my mind started exploding. I was like, people actually have done this, and people like document this, so other people can learn from, like, it was just, it's, man, I never read a book in my life, and my mind just, it opened to a whole new world, and it shifted my entire mindset on how I look at money, especially after like Rich Dad Poor Dad. And being in a container, I unpack shipping containers for a living at this warehouse. So it's thousands of boxes. We're just chucking them onto pallets. It's monotonous work, boring as hell. But with the boys, the conversations mostly consist of, you're playing on the pokies, you're going to the pub, you're having a beer, you got into a fight on the weekend, you lost all your money, you rock back up at work, and you do the same shit over and over and over. And I'm there like, hey man, have you heard like Rich Dad Poor Dad, bro? You heard of this book? Like, and they're like, what? Like a book? What are you talking? You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man.
Wow.
That's pretty much it.
So
That's pretty much
man,
yeah.
wow, that's really
Crazy.
something, man. I mean,
Yeah.
information really
Yeah.
expands, right? It's like it's almost like us humans are like a sponge and we get so dried out, you know? And then knowledge is like water, and when we finally get some, it's like we, you know, if we're open, if we're ready for it, we just soak it up, right?
Yeah, man. Yeah, bro. It's a lot of it is timing at the right time, you know. A lot of things in my life started aligning, coming together, and this information, man, just it was mind-blowing. So in short, I went to Google, how to make money online, started seeing drop shipping, Amazon FBA, all these things popping at me. And I finally found a review of a dropshipping course that I was looking at getting into, but they were asking for so much money up the front. And I was like, man, this is just, I was like, nah, I'm not rocking with it. And at the end of the video, and it was a fella called Jason Foster. He's been on this show before, and that guy is a legend, man. Man, shout out to Jason Foster.
Jason from Jamaica.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Like this, man. It's champion. So I linked with Jason and started asking him, I go, what's this affiliate marketing you're talking about? And he guided me through it step by step. And
How did you find his stuff? Did you find a video on YouTube? Okay.
YouTube. I was never on TikTok. Like I looked at TikTok like, I'm not gonna download that. Like what is the purpose of that? Like for years, I was DJing. Like I don't really talk about it online as much because it's like a alias, but I created a solid foundation in DJing in Sydney and a big following where I was like hustling mixtapes through Facebook, through Instagram, promoting, always creating content for my DJing, but it was never making enough. And especially when the pandemic hit, it was never, like I was like, what else can I do? I know I can create content, but how else can I, what do they say? MSI, multiple streams of income, what is it? Income generating activities and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, I've been hustling.
Right.
Many different ways. So affiliate marketing is like, it was just mind blowing to me. It was mind blowing, and it's very powerful, very powerful. So yeah, man. But anyways, yeah.
So from Jason, did you go through our 15-day challenge? Is that what happened? And then, okay, tell us about kind of that next chapter.
Okay. I found the 15-day, and that was the whole thing. It was like $7, and I'm like, I was like, yeah, man, I'll spend $7. I was like, yeah, sweet. So I jumped in, did the $7, pumped through the 15 days. Shout out to Bonnie. She was the business advisor. She was super helpful. And when I got to the end of the 15 days, I was like, okay, that's it. Like, I was like, oh, but now it starts. And I was that was April to June. So for 2 months, I was just like getting ready to get ready, putting it off, like sitting there, like too scared to jump in. I was like, okay. And then I finally was like, what are you doing? And then one day once I hit post, I racked up all these videos for TikTok, got ready, it was done. I had 60 videos ready, and I was like, bang, I hit post, and it's just started. And hit post again, post again, post again. I was like, once I was in it and running in the marathon, I'm like, I'm doing this. And then I started seeing things happen, and I was like, oh shit. And then a commission came through, and I was like, oh shit, I was jade, bro. I was jade. I'm telling you, like, so yeah, that's bro, honest man. Like, this is me. Like, I shouldn't be yelling, man. My kids are sleeping upstairs. My missus is gonna be like, I know you're on Wake Up Legendary, and she took a while to come around. And then when she started seeing commissions, I was like, you see? Like, man. Like, okay, keep going. You know? Anyways. Anyways.
Yeah, no, it's almost like my story to a T. I think people I don't know how people view me. Like, I really don't. I feel like people put me on some pedestal or something, but it's like what you just described is exactly what happened with me. That's exactly how it happened. It was just some time ago, and not too long ago, like 10 years ago, something like that, 11 years ago, whatever. And yeah, same exact thing, man. I got a couple of leads first, and I was like, what? And then, because I'm chasing people around doing network marketing, you know what I mean? And I'm like 25 years old. I was 25 years old, I was offline chasing people. Then when I came online and I started generating traffic and getting leads, and then I made my first commission, I did the same thing with my wife. I mean, she was super skeptical. And then, I got like a commission of $2, and I was like, could have thought it was could have thought it was, millions of dollars, but yeah, it's great. It builds that initial confidence. And so that April, May, June. So basically you screwed around and got ready to get ready, as you said, for 2 months. So that would be April, May, June. So July, are you talking about basically the last 30 to 45 days you've really started kind of getting in the game?
Yeah. So from June 13th, I've just been tracking and writing down like everything. Like, I found out about Power of Publish, Calvin Hill, started seeing the people that are really, Brian Brewer and whatnot. Daryl J R Jr., I forget it, young fella.
Yeah.
And it's amazing to me. But what's even more crazy is like people now, like that imposter syndrome that you guys talk about. And I had that, but at the same time, I'm like, nah, man, like I've done great things. I can do great things, and I can achieve great things. Like I truly believe in myself. Like, I tell my children, and they're young, like 4 and an 8-year-old, and I instill that in them.
Yeah,
like, you can do amazing things with your life. You can do anything. It all comes down to
And I think that's really important, man. I mean, it really does. The most successful people in the world are oftentimes those who simply just have the confidence and the self-esteem to be able to go after something and try and really just get in the game. I've watched so many people over my life who are so wildly talented, skilled, masters at their craft, but they just lacked the confidence. They lacked the belief within themselves. And so although people don't want to read the book, don't want to work on the mindset, don't want to, we have so many people who come through our training and are just like, I'm waiting to see if this is BS, they're looking, they see that we're selling other advanced training for hundreds or thousands of dollars, and they're offended, like, oh, I can't believe this must be a scam, and it's like, if you would educate yourself by reading the books, by learning marketing, by expanding your mindset in developing a mindset of abundance versus just such a mindset of lack, then you would see and be learning from other people who are marketing. Now, as I learn marketing, instead of looking at the world in this confused way, like, how are they making money? How are they so successful? Is this a scam? I started to look at things and say, wow, that's really interesting how he just used that angle at that car dealership. Or I would look at restaurants and say, wow, it's really interesting the less options they have versus these restaurants that have huge menus like a Taco Bell or like a Five Guys Burgers or a Chipotle where they only serve one type of food. They tend to do better. That must mean because people have less options, they get less overwhelmed, and probably also in the back of the kitchen, there's less things to go bad, right? I just started looking at the world differently from a mindset of business and marketing. And I realized that it wasn't that I was getting cheated. It wasn't that people had an advantage that I didn't have. It's just literally that they knew things that I didn't know. And as I began to learn them, and as I began to build my belief that bigger things were possible, even for me, that this little $1,000 I had in my bank account wasn't the last money I was ever going to have in my life, and I needed to protect it and, make sure nobody got it from me, right? Nobody can get this $1,000, thieves and scammers, right? Instead, right, it's like I can use this money to invest in me, because the best investment that I can make, whether it's $7 or $7,000, the best investment that I can make, is in my education. And it's not particularly in college. I made this joke to my wife because a friend of ours just graduated who is literally the worst communicator in the world, and graduated with a master's degree in communication. I'm going, college is a scam. This is bullshit. This is crazy. But the education from one person who's succeeding like yourself to me, or me to you, real world, I think that's the way that that's where we need to seek our information now in 2021. And so you're doing that right now. And you described your work environment. What is that like for you now to be around people who are talking about the same old shit all the time? Are you like, is that becoming almost intolerable to kind of?
It's hard to, man, it gets harder and harder to rock up and be there and be around it every day. But I use it as fuel. Regardless, I just use it as fuel. Like, for instance, let's say this is slightly off, but it's still on. The day that I posted my first TikTok for, doing what I'm doing, the day I posted it, I'm like, no one's going to see this. It's not going to happen. And I walk into work on the Monday. I posted it on a Sunday, 13th of June. I walked in on the Monday, and one of the boys ran up and he's like, I saw you on TikTok, bro. I saw your video. And I was like, oh my God. I didn't want anybody knowing about any of this. And I was like, super, so what I'm saying is to use it as fuel is I'll come into work and the boys are talking about the same old, it is what it is. There's bickering in between, or the boss isn't paying me. He's not doing this for me. That's why it's bullshit, mate. It's our wives. Shit, where I'm like, bro, you can hustle another way. I work with one fella, and God love him, man. One of my best mates there. He's a good dude.
Yeah.
I'm like, I've tried to tell him, I'm like, bro, invest $27 or $20 into your brain and pick up a book. I go, check out this book, man, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, man. It switched everything on how I'm looking at things. And he's like, yeah, but I need more hours, bro. I need more hours. This is bullshit. And I'm like, bro, come on, man. Yeah. It's not about hours, bro. It's not about, I'm like the cash flow quadrant, brother. I'm like, there's employees, there's self-employed, and they're like, the cash flow, what? I'm like, bro, you want to be a business owner and an investor. It does heads, man, but I'm telling you, man, I'm like, I'm there. I have a pen. I get the cardboard box. We're chucking it onto the pallet, and I'm writing the cash flow quadrant on the box, and I'm like, boys, have a look, brother. And they're like, what is this?
You like you're crazy, dude. They're looking
Yeah,
at you
man,
like you're worshiping the devil or something.
Yeah,
like
man.
drawing
They're like, bro, what is
pentagrams and
this?
shit.
Yeah, man. And I'm like, bro, it's Robert Kiyosaki, man. Robert Kiyosaki. He's a weapon. Anyway, so it's hard, man. It's hard to it's hard to rock up every day and do that. But at the same time, when the negative comments come from the boys that know what I'm doing, it never comes to my face. But I know when I leave and then come back, you know, sometimes there's talk or it'll get back to me, and I'm like, bro, like whatever, man. Like, bro, I can show you how to do this stuff. Like, this is
right.
I'm helping, man. And
I think we have a hard time. It's sort of like growing up when somebody is like, I used to tease the girls that I was into, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So in a sense, but that was still hard for probably those girls to deal with me, right? I mean, it's not easy when somebody's teasing you. Us human beings have a weird way of going about being jealous or being actually interested. A lot of times what I find is people just have a hard time, you know, humbling themselves and saying, I actually look up to you for having a set and having some guts and doing something different instead, you know, but instead, so they come across and will make fun of, poke fun of, you know, give you. I think that's a real common thing. I think that was spot on, that we feel embarrassed, like we don't want anybody to see us. And I think the reason why is because we know how people are going to react to us trying to do better our lives. We know they're going to say, oh, look at Dave. He thinks he's better than, he thinks he's smarter than, you know?
Yeah.
So I think, you know, I think that I know that in order to be successful, you have to be willing to walk through that uncomfortability of what people are going to say, the jealousy, the hate. You have to be willing. What's coming up?
Well, so the getting comfortable being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, I love that. I love that, because it's like, I pick my uncomfortable. I have two, like you always say, man, I hear it in the shows, you know, you got to pick your hard. Both paths are hard. Being poor is hard. Being rich is hard. Or working a 9 to 5 or doing what this is hard. Both is hard. And I sum it up like this: get screamed at by my supervisor that belittles me on a daily. He's not always an asshole, but a lot of the time he'll play the power card and he'll you know,
sure,
deal with the boys talking shit, or break my son's heart because I'm coming home late. I see him for like 2 minutes and he's like, why are you always working? Why are you always working, Dad? And I'm like, I'm working for you, man. But at the same time, I'm like, I'm doing something more to not have to do this for the rest of my life. So it's like, what else is hard? On the other flip side is like the TikTok comments, people that are coming in the comments and they're like, you're a Gronk. You don't know what you're talking about. You're a Derek. Wow, this. I'm throwing some Aussie slang at you, man. Like, you guys don't say
right. Yeah. No, we're getting
there's mad.
Everybody's like looking up like the words, like, what does pokey mean? What is let me go on the
internet here. Like, yeah, bro. Like,
wrong, right?
Bro,
yeah.
Oh man. You know, but it's that's hard. But at the same time, I'd rather not have to scrub the grease out of my hands for the, you know, like.
Yeah, and kids don't understand, man. You know, like when you say I'm working for you, they don't understand, and quite frankly, they don't really care. They're like, I just want you. I just want you.
Like, just play Nintendo with me, man. Like, that's it.
Yeah. You know, I'll say it just in case anybody hasn't heard it. You got to pick your hard. You know, being broke is hard. And being working a job for a boss that you hate is hard. being poor is hard. It's hard. It's really hard. And being successful, being wealthy is hard too.
Yeah.
It's hard in a completely different way. Both, but there are similarities. Both require a lot of work. It's different work though. For me, the work is very different today than it was, 10 years ago, 11, 12 years ago, when I was so broke I couldn't afford to pay attention. I worked a lot harder back then. So you got to pick your hard. I think for being broke and poor, the hard is it's both mental and emotional. It's also physical, but I can promise you, being successful, the hard is mental. It's mental. You know what I mean? So for me, being poor means physical hardness. I got to be out there digging ditches. I got to be working in the sun 10 hours a day. I got to be eating shittier foods. You know what I mean? I got to be sleeping in a shittier bed, right? I got to be sleeping in a bed that's uncomfortable, that has springs poking through it. That's how I used to sleep, springs poking through it. And
give me a rolled up cow. I'll sleep anywhere, bro.
I remember sleeping on my mattress that was just laying on the floor. When I started this internet marketing journey, my mattress was on the floor.
I'm sleeping on crates, bro. Milk crates. Man, I've got like 30 milk crates with zip ties, and there's a mattress, and I'm like, it'll do for now. But it's like, it doesn't have to be forever. I can change.
Yeah. Now one of the things I value most is my Sleep Number bed. It's a $10,000 bed that I can adjust the freaking firmness, and my wife can adjust her. Those are the things, right? A lot of times we don't understand. We don't really realize, what does it mean to have money? How does the quality of my life improve? The reason why we don't know that is because we've never experienced it before, right? So we can't even imagine, wow, what it's like to sleep on a bed that has the ability to adjust its firmness by, just a couple of, you know what I mean? I mean, just a couple of whatever you would call it. I don't even know what they call it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. Fuck. I mean, but it's like, or to eat a better food, just not have to eat McDonald's every day, or, just to feel better, to be able to pick up. We have Uber Eats. I don't know if you guys have that over there, but I order a Clean Eats, this food. It's $10 a meal, but it's they deliver it right to the door. I never have to worry about whether I'm gonna, the delivery fee. You know what I mean? So I can just keep working, and then the food just comes to the door, and then I just eat a clean meal. And if I was to ever eat a shitty, greasy ass meal, which I do sometimes, I got to shit for 24 hours. I'm blowing up.
Health is wealth, man. Health is wealth.
Yeah. So I think that the quality of life that I was talking about, the hardness, how it's hard to be poor, but it's also hard to be successful and wealthy. We have to choose our hard. What path, what hard do we want? And I what I suggest everybody do is get real loose with your money at the beginning, right? Because I think for me, the more successful I've got, the more I've had to be smarter with my investments in my money. And I don't want to get too flippant with just blowing money, because then I end up like an athlete who played, sports and now is broke. And that's a lot of like our professional football players and stuff. There's a big
NBA
thing
players,
or people who win the lotto. They win the lotto, but then they don't know how to manage their money, so they end up broke. But most of us are tight with our money in the wrong place or the wrong time. You can't be tight with your money when you're not successful. And I know that sounds, what the hell are you talking about, Dave? But you can't be on a budget all the time when you're so broke, because then you're afraid to invest in things that can expand your mind. Now, here's what I mean. Go and stay at the nicest hotel in your town for one night in the next 30 days. That should be a goal that everybody has. So you can go and you can experience what is it like to be in a room, to be in a building, to be in a bed that's the best money can buy, right? To eat the food that's the best money can buy. Because if you never experience what that's like, then you only always know what you have, and so you don't have anything that you're actually striving for. What do you actually, sometimes we just want to get rich, but what can getting rich get us, right? And so there's one thing which you mentioned, which was the reading of the books and expanding our mind and beginning to see the world and ourselves differently. But then there's also another thing of going to a car lot and sitting in a Mercedes Benz or sitting in a Rolls Royce. Don't just look at it on the internet. Go touch it, feel it, smell it, experience what it's like. And now you get to see the difference between what your life can be like and the quality of your life. Go into a Sleep Number store, lay on the bed, order a bed that has a 90-day, a 30-day you know how some of these things are like, don't love the mattress, send it back. Well, order the goddamn thing and send it back. Just sleep on it to know what it's like to experience better quality. And that, I think, is a life-changing thing. It's one of the reasons why we do our masterminds in 20,000 square foot mansions, because when you walk into a home, like, you never know what you have until you know what somebody else has, right? So when you walk into or what you don't have until you experience what somebody else has. When you walk into a 20,000 square foot mansion and you look around and you experience the kitchen and you experience game rooms and you experience just what it's like to just live or just hang out in that house for a day, it changes everything, right? It changes because you don't know what you don't know. It's just, it's an exercise of expanding the mind and having, something that you're actually striving for versus just this arbitrary, I want to make more money, or I want to just stop working for this boss. A lot of times we're running from things, Simon. We're just trying to get away from pain, but we never give ourself a chance to actually dream for something pleasurable. Does this make sense to you?
It is, man. It is. It comes like, I think it's like in the cycle, I'd say, like, my upbringing and experiencing, like, I know what I know.
Yeah.
My mom she was horrible with money. She wasn't the best with money. My dad, not so much. And like the book I learned, they're like, ask yourself who taught you about money.
Yeah,
and
right.
I take a look at my parents and I'm like, yeah, they taught me. And they're like, and how good were they with money? And I'm like, not very good. And I'm like, okay, so maybe I need to have financial education, start learning, developing my financial IQ. So
Who taught you about money? What a powerful question.
Yeah.
What a powerful question.
It's true. Yeah.
I mean,
taught you about money, man. It's crazy.
If we look back at our history, if we look back at our childhood, all the answers are there. They really are. I mean, a lot of times, like when you're fixing a car or fixing something at the warehouse, a forklift or something, you backtrack. Okay, what's happening? And then you go back and you kind of reverse engineer and you say, okay, well, it's not going. It must be something with the hydraulics. And then it's like you backtrack it and you work kind of backwards to try to find the problem, right? And the same thing I believe we can do with ourselves, right? It's like, okay, I have this kind of tight wad budget, coupon cutting, hoarding money, thinking that everybody's trying to get it from me, or like I said before, I've got $1,000. I need to protect it like it's the only money I'm ever going to get,
Yeah, man.
And it's like, who did I learn that from?
Yeah, man.
Who taught me that? Who taught me to think about money like that? Who taught me to think about abundance and lack, right? Who taught me to have such a lack mentality when the government is printing money, when there's people that are making thousands of dollars an hour, when there's people who are making, I mean, imagine making $5, $10, $15, $20,000 a day. Forget a month. Imagine making it a day. There's so many millions and millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of people who that's just their everyday just existence every day, whether they work or not. $20,000, $50,000 just drops in their bank account. What, because they have a business, a system. You talk about the catchable quadrant. They're on that business. They have people and systems and investments that are working for them, right?
That's it. And then it
now, takes some time to get there, right? But I mean, that's people's reality. That's people's reality. So imagine growing up around somebody like that, which your kids can as you continue to grow, and you can give them a different experience. But imagine how much more abundant thinking they'll be.
That's it. Understanding. I didn't understand, bro, assets and liabilities. Like I never understood, and that's even that goes further into it, but it's so simple the way it's explained in that book, where they're like, the general outline is just understanding the difference between an asset and a liability and investing more in assets than you would liabilities. And I'm just saying, like, I was one for years spending, like, getting the latest Jordans or the latest Nike TNs that rock, all the shoes and collect. And then I was like, why am I doing this? And this is like 4 years ago. And then, my own personal, I lost money here, lost money there. I lost parents, big things, big life-changing things happened in my life. And I was like, holy shit, like, I've got 2 mouths to feed now. I've got to figure, man, why am I wasting money on shoes for?
Right.
And then, the financial education started coming into it. And then I'm like, oh, what's an asset's going to put money in my pocket? A liability's going to take it out, man. And it's like, it comes down to, man, it's powerful. It's powerful. They say knowledge is power. They say, I no longer, they say knowledge is power, but I read this the other day in Think and Grow Rich, or when I read it, it was like 2 months ago. And it was saying knowledge is only potential power when you have a direct plan of action. And I was like, man, like, it just, you should see me in the warehouse, man. I do the boys' heads in, man. Like, I'm like constant, every single conversation I can get into that we're talking about, like, to better themselves. I'm like, yo, man, you can better yourself, man. I'm like, it's a 15-day challenge, man. You can do this. You can get here too. It's crazy.
Well, good for you, man. Listen, keep up the great work, bro.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
We'll definitely have you back and keep us updated on your journey, okay? And
thank you.
Just keep the fire blazing, bro. All right?
That's it. Appreciate you, man. Thank you, bro.
All right, Simon. See you, man. All right, my friends, go follow this guy, okay? He needs the support. This guy's fired up and ready to support you as well. This is what it's all about, all right? I look forward to having those of you who also want to come on, put this knowledge into action, because he's right. Knowledge is really only power when you put it into action. And have you guys on the show as well to share your story and your experience. Once again, massive shout out to Simon. Go follow him. There's his TikTok right there, Simon Side Hustles. Give him a follow. Support his stuff. Lift him up. Like his stuff. Comment his stuff. As I say every day, that's the best way that you can support others, but also support yourself by putting out that positive energy and lifting these people up. Got the comments blowing up for love for Simon. Appreciate all his work and what he shared, especially being up at midnight, staying up at midnight to be able to come on with us. So we'll see you guys back here tomorrow for another episode. Get out of here. Peace. Be legendary. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.